Welcome to Finance in Review. Stocks pushed higher on Friday, with the S&P 500 up about 0.4% and the Dow leading the majors with a gain near 1%. But the real stories were far from the big indexes. One of the day's biggest gainers was a small cancer vaccine biotech that has quietly multiplied in value over the past year. And one of the sharpest decliners was a gold developer that owns one of the largest untapped gold deposits in the world, knocked lower by a setback in its long permitting fight. We have both stories, with a 5-year look back at each. Here are the index movements for the day. But let's take a look at the big movers on the day. First up, the cancer vaccine developer SELLAS Life Sciences, ticker SLS. Today, the stock rose 15.4%, one of the biggest gainers in the entire market. There was no company announcement behind the move. It was simply the latest step in a remarkable comeback. Just 18 months ago, this stock traded close to $1, left for dead after years of losses and repeated stock sales. Since then, it has multiplied more than tenfold. SELLAS is a clinical stage company, which means it has no products on the market yet. Its value rests almost entirely on one experimental treatment, a vaccine aimed at an aggressive blood cancer. On our 5-year ride, you will see a stock that nearly collapsed, then came roaring back on a single piece of trial news. Let's take a look back a few years to examine other price fluctuations in this stock. November 2021. Down about 18%. This was one of the stock's first real stumbles. Alongside its third-quarter results, SELLAS updated investors on its lead program, a late-stage trial of its cancer vaccine in blood cancer patients. The study was still enrolling, with its first major data checkpoint still months away. For a company whose whole value rests on that single trial, the long road ahead was enough to send shares lower. April 2022. Down about 38% in a single day. Here is the other force that shaped this stock, the constant need for cash. With no products and steady losses, SELLAS had to keep funding itself by selling new shares. On this day, it priced one such offering, issuing millions of new shares and warrants to raise money. That kind of sale dilutes existing owners, and the market repriced the stock sharply lower. This would not be the last time. November 2022. Down about 44%, the worst day on this whole ride. The company announced changes to the design of its key trial. Early, blinded data suggested patients were living longer than the study had originally assumed. That sounds like good news, but it meant the trial would take longer and need more patients to reach a clear answer. A longer, costlier road, for a company already burning cash, sent the stock into a tailspin. February 2023. Down about 54%. By now, the stock had fallen so far that raising money had become brutal. SELLAS priced another share sale, even larger than before, at a deeply depressed price. Each new offering handed existing shareholders a smaller slice of the company. The stock, already near record lows, was cut in half again. This was the bottom of the valley. January 2025. Up almost 40%. And everything changed. After years of decline, an independent committee reviewed the first real results from the big cancer vaccine trial. It found the treatment was working well enough to continue, with patients living far longer than expected. For a stock left for dead near $1, that single announcement was electric. It marked the turn that, over the following year, would multiply the stock more than tenfold to where it trades today. And that brings us back to today, and another leg higher in this biotech's comeback. But the day cut both ways. While a small biotech soared, one of the most ambitious names in gold mining fell hard on a setback years in the making. Next up, Seabridge Gold, ticker SA. Seabridge Gold, ticker SA, is unlike almost any mining stock you will meet. Today, the shares fell 9.3%. Seabridge does not actually mine any gold. It owns one of the largest undeveloped gold deposits on Earth, a massive project called KSM in the mountains of British Columbia. Its whole strategy is to prove up that gold and one day sell or build the mine. That makes the stock a pure bet on two things: the price of gold and permission to dig. Today, it was permission. A local indigenous government withdrew a letter of support it had given years ago for the project's environmental review tied to a court-ordered consultation process. Investors read it as another delay in an already long permitting fight and sold. Let's take a look back at this one too. January 2022, up about 10%. And right away, the pattern of this stock shows itself. There was no company news at all that day. Gold ticked up only about 1.5%, but Seabridge jumped several times that. Because it owns so much gold still in the ground and earns nothing today, its stock swings far more than the metal it is chasing. A small move in gold became a big move here. April 2023, up about 13%. This one is even stranger. There was no company announcement, and gold barely moved that day. The broad stock market was flat, too. Days like this are a reminder that a stock like Seabridge, with no earnings and a project still years from production, can swing on shifting sentiment and trading flows alone, with no clear news behind it. February 2024, up about 19%, and this time there was real news. Seabridge reported fresh drilling results from a project in Canada's Yukon. A new geological model suggested that scattered pockets of gold might actually connect into one continuous zone. For a company whose value is all about how much gold lies beneath the surface, evidence of more of it is exactly what investors want to see. The shares surged. February 2025, down about 16%. Here, the other side of the story appears: the constant need for money. Proving up a giant gold deposit costs a fortune, and Seabridge earns nothing to pay for it. So it did what it often does and sold a large block of new stock to raise around $80 million. As with our biotech, issuing new shares dilutes existing owners, and the stock dropped. January 2026, down almost 16%. And the leverage that lifts this stock can crush it just as fast. There was no company news that day. Instead, the price of gold itself tumbled about 10% in a sharp, sudden sell-off. Seabridge, with all of its value tied to that metal, fell even harder. The same sensitivity that powers its best days deepens its worst ones. And we are back to today once more. Beyond our two featured stories, here are the rest of the day's biggest movers. That's the market close for today. Thanks for watching Finance in Review. And remember, this is information, not investment advice.